Hey, what's up guys? WetXBoy here, coming at you with another deck profile for future card BuddyFight, the new game from Bushiroad, and this is for Magic World. I've seen a lot of Magic World deck profiles online so far, and none are really that in depth, I think. So right now I'm going to show you and go a little in depth and tell you some strategies and show you like the kind of build, how like the percentage of like how many impact, how many items, how many spells, and how many monsters you should have. Now keep in mind that this is my build. I mean, and I've gone through many different builds building this, because there's so many different strategies and stuff like this to this game. But yeah, let's start off. So the flag, and my buddy is Osmodai, and if you don't know what he is, he's a size 1, 5,000, 1,000, and 1 crit, and then he has the ability of whenever he enters the field, you can discard a card and pop a creature or pop a monster on your opponent's field. And yeah. Well, it states destroy a monster on the field, but you'd want to destroy a monster on your opponent's field, obviously. But yeah, he's my buddy, and then yeah, we're gonna start off with the monsters. So, first monster is, I only run one. He's a size 3. You pay 3 gauge. He's a 7,000, 6,000, and 3 crit. He has penetrate. Pretty big dude for Magic World. Wouldn't suggest running a lot of him because of the high cost, and also you'll find you want a lot more smaller monsters in Magic World, definitely, just to get off like everyone's abilities and make multiple attacks. And you'll definitely want to try and make link attacks with these guys because they aren't really that strong. So yeah, I run one, and I also have a combo I was trying to do. It's kind of situational, but it works when it works. So yeah, 1 or 2 is fine. And then I run 3, Fallen Angel. He's the 3 crit guy. I would consider running 4. It's awesome whenever you have whenever you go first, you can only attack once, and you have a 3 crit guy in your hand, just to play down and give him that -3 first turn. But yeah, he's 4,000, 3,000, so as you can see, still not like big on attack or defense. But yeah, 3 crit, and no cost, so yeah, it's pretty good. And as you can see already, this is a 72 pillars deck. There are other archetypes such as wizards, which I'll talk about at the end of the video. But yeah, this is Liar Fool. He's a 6,000, 2,000, 2 crit, and he has the ability of whenever he enters the field, you can play a spell with the set ability. It's basically like just a spell that is continuous, and you don't have to pay its cast cost. So you can play him and then play a set spell. I run 3, mostly for his power, not for the effect, although I do run a couple set spells. So yeah, those are my size 2s. Again, not a lot of the bigger monsters you'll see. But yeah, onto the size 1s. I play 4 Demon Dr. Buer. I think that's how you pronounce it. He's a 1,000, 3,000, 1 crit. Again, not a big monster, but a great ability. Whenever he's placed on the field, you can take the top card of your deck and put it into your gauge. So you play a monster. Usually I play him in the middle, because of the rest of his effect. The rest of his effect is, if you do his effect, destroy this card at the end of your opponent's turn. So what I do is place him in the middle of my field, so he gets in the way, so your opponent has to attack him, and they have to waste an attack on him. Otherwise, if you play him to the sides, they won't worry about him because he's going away at the end of their turn. So, yeah. But yeah, good card is good. Yeah, I play 4 just to get my gauge, because a lot of this stuff is... A lot of Magic World revolves around a lot of gauge. And then I play 3 of my buddy, Osmodai. And yeah, I went over him pretty much. Would I consider running 4? Yes. But as of right now, I only have 3. And only running 3, I already can see how much he can minus you as well, just by discarding a card, because you're already playing a card from your hand to bring him to the field. I don't want to say summon because Yu-Gi-Oh and whatnot. Sorry. But you're already playing from the field, and then you have to discard a card. So it already kind of puts you at a minus, but you level up because you kill probably one of their huge monsters that you're trying to kill. That's the only way I would play him, is if they have like a really big dude, and I'd wait to play him. So yeah. And then my other grade one, or not grade ones, that's Vanguard. Size ones is Fallen Angel, another Fallen Angel. That's Belith, and this is Paimon, or Paimon, I don't know. He's not a Digimon though. But he's 4,000, 1,000, and 2 crit. I run 3. A little bit stronger attack, and 2 crits. That's kind of why. My other ones are Preacher of Beauty Geometry, or Grimoire, I don't know. Grimoire, sure. Let's go with that, yeah. A lot of these cards have weird names, sorry. She is a 3,000, 2,000, and 2 crit, and a pretty nice looking card too. I like her art. Again, just for 2 crit, because I like a lot of small monsters with high crits, just to get more attacks and be more threatening. And then 2 of the metal pony, just a metal rocking out pony. Yeah, it's pretty cool. 5,000, 3,000, pretty strong attack and defense for a Magic World card. But he's a 1,000 crit. Usually I'd probably just use him for like link attacks or something. And then these kind of cards, I'd usually put on the sides, so they wouldn't want to hit them to deal you damage. They'd have to go out of their way to destroy them. And that's kind of annoying to your player, or to your opponent. And then let's get these out of the way real quick, and I'll go over my spells. So yeah, I think that was 22 monsters. Usually for Magic World, you'd probably want around 20 to 25 monsters. Spells, probably like 18 to 22 spells, and then the rest would be your impacts and your items. But that's for like a 50 card deck. Again, this game plays in like how Yu-Gi-Oh is. It's 50 cards and up, but I mean, you want to try and make that 50 card deck just because you have more consistency. And speaking of consistency, we have the card Nice One. It's a simple pay a gauge, draw 2. For 1 gauge, you draw 2. I think that's awesome. Especially in combo with the Bureau card. Demon Dr. Beer. Just pay a gauge, draw 2, get another gauge. Yeah, it combos really well. Magic World has a lot of stuff that combos really well with themselves. And then this, is their nullifier pretty much. Although, unlike Dragon World or Danger World, they don't have to have their center open. You can just nullify an attack, whether it be on your monster or whatnot. And you don't have to have your center open. And then I also play 4 of the burn spells. It's just play a card, deal 1 damage to your opponent. Again, awesome for early game and stuff. And then I also play 4 Magical Goodbye. Honestly, considering dropping one just to try and make a different tactic. But these are very good. Return a size 2 or less monster from the field to its owner's hand. So you can honestly play this on yourself too, just to get a free Demon Dr. Bureau back, and then play him again to get another gauge. Since this is a free cost, you'll just get 2 gauge automatically from that play. But mostly use this on your opponent, definitely, just to and make sure you use it on the attacking step, not when they set their cards down, while they can still play them again on their turn. But yeah, good card. Next, I run Quick Summon. Quick Summon is a pretty awesome card. It's an uncommon. It's just another one of my techs. You may cast this card on an attack on your opponent's turn. It's a counter. Call a monster from your hand by paying its call cost, and if it doesn't have a call cost, you don't have to pay the call cost because it doesn't have a call cost. But yeah, it gives that it gives the monster counterattack for that battle, and it changes the attack to the monster that you set down. So one of the combos that I was talking about earlier is I would run 3 of these, and then I'd run 3 or 2 of these guys. And what I would do is make sure I'd have 3 gauge for his cost, and I'd play Quick Summon, and I'd summon him right in the middle of my field when they're trying to attack. And it's kind of situational in it that they have to attack with their middle monster, but either way it's good because you're bringing out a big dude on their turn. But what I would do is play Quick Summon, play him, pay 3 gauge, and you have a guy with Penetrate that has counterattack. So if they're attacking with their middle monster and he survives, then his counterattack is 7,000, 3 crit. If you end up destroying their middle monster, you end up dealing 3 damage to them on their turn, which is pretty awesome. And I had a game where that actually won me the battle, and I won on my opponent's turn, which was pretty cool. That feeling was pretty awesome. So yeah, next I play Devil Advantage. I play 1. I might consider running 2 because it is good with Bure. Again, I love that card just because you get a free gauge, and it gets in your opponent's way. But what it is you pay a gauge and choose 2 72 pillars from your drop zone, and they have to have the same name, and put them into your hand. And if you don't have 2 of the same name, this doesn't work. It states that right on the card. So yeah, pay a gauge, get 2 back. Honestly, this can be used for anything in this deck that I have 2 in the drop zone of. Yeah, it's good for a 72 pillars deck. It's a staple, at least at 1. But yeah, I would consider running 2. Again, another tech I run is Oops. Pretty good card. Pay 2 gauge, return a monster, item, or spell on the field to its owner's hand. Really good for those big monsters. Just with the high costs, just return them to hand and get your opponent to minus themselves for how much he paid for that monster or item. Considering that Dragon World has the Drago Knuckle and they have to pay a life to put it down. So it really makes your opponent play carefully whenever you send that card back. Because it's like, do they really want to pay 2 life to play it again? But yeah, really good tech. I was running like 3 of those, but it's a high cost. So I put it down to 1, but I would run 1 or 2. My last spell is Noisy Dance Room. It's the set spell that I was talking about with Liar Fool Fool. Reason why I was running 3, but I would always just consider just putting them to the gauge and drawing at my opening phase, just because they don't really come in handy that much, honestly. You set this and the cast cost, you pay a gauge, all of your 72 pillars on the field get plus 1,000, and this is an act for the card. Pretty much during your turn you can pay a gauge and return a 72 pillars from the field to your hand. Just because you have to pay a gauge to return it to hand, that's why I'm only running 1. And also the plus 1,000 isn't that much. I mean, it does make kind of a difference, but since in ties attacker wins battles just like Vanguard, really doesn't do that much. But yeah, so that's the spells. Let me get those out of the way. And this is a pretty long video, but I'm trying to go in depth for you guys, so you guys will like this video, hopefully. But yeah, my last couple cards are 3 item cards. It's the Gunrod. Now this Gunrod is the uncommon, not the rare. The rare is just you can it has the same ability as this except less, which is why I favor this one. It does have a higher call cost, but has a higher payout in the end. The other Gunrod is just pay a gauge, and I think it has the same stats. It may have 5,000, just correct me if I'm wrong. But it has the same ability of tapping and you deal the damage to your opponent. And that isn't considered an attack. Although you can say I'm attacking with this. That's just this card's effect. But yeah, this card's own effect is you can tap it and you deal 1 damage to your opponent, and you can select one of your 72 pillars, or no, you select one of your monsters, not 72 pillars, sorry. And it gains plus 3,000 power for that turn. So yeah, it's pretty good. The reason I only run 3 is because this is Magic World. They don't really rely on their weapons or items, although these are really good, just like a burn, like 1. But yeah, pretty good. And then what you see out in the corner is my 4 impact cards. For Magic World, I definitely would suggest running 4, just because of how easy their impact cards is to get off. You have absolutely no constrictions except for 1. You just have to have a monster in your center, which Dragon World and Danger World you can't, and they also have, well, at least Dragon World has the restriction of your opponent has to be at a certain life. This impact is awesome. You just pay 3 gauge. You have to have a 72 pillars in your center, and you deal 3 damage to your opponent. Really good. So yeah, that's my deck. Please like, comment, subscribe about it. And right now, real quick, I'm just going to go over some other decks you can play. I know some of my friends play them, but I just like to make a straight 72 pillars deck. Yeah, just doing that to make it look pretty. But one card I was running, and still am considering running, is the Arc. It's pretty much a counter to impact cards. It's a set spell. You pay 2 gauge and put 2 cards from the top of your deck into this card's soul face down. You have to play this card before you die. But its effect is, if your life would become 0, reveal the 2 cards under this card. And if there's a spell among those 2 cards, then your life becomes 2. And you draw a card. And then this is destroyed. But yeah, really good card, honestly. It saves you from things, especially because Magic World right now does not have like those healing cards that Danger World and Dragon World have. Like, Dragon World has the gain 2 life card, and also the nullify gain a life. And then Danger World has the gain 4 life card. But yeah, really good card just to tech in. Especially because you play so many spells in a Magic World deck. It's a really good card, and it saves you at times. Another card is Abracadabra. It's awesome. It is very awesome to counter buddy calls, because it does counter buddy calls. You pay 2 gauge, and you may cast this card on your opponent's... oh, no, sorry. I am thinking of another card. This is just counter spells. I apologize. I grabbed the wrong card for the video. My apologies. But yeah, this, you counter spells. Really good card for playing against a Magic World deck, if you're playing a Magic World deck. But yeah, the card that I was talking about, I completely forget the name, I apologize. It counters it, and it completely nullifies the call of a monster to the field. So your opponent, if you would do it on a buddy call, your opponent would not get the buddy gift of 1 life, and since they already buddy called for the game, they can't try and buddy call again. So there's no way of them gaining a life through that again. So yeah. Sorry about that. Another card is Great Spell Saturday Night Devil Fever. You pay 2 gauge and 1 life. And you may only call this card if the number of 72 pillars in your drop zone is 6 or more. And it's a counter. And you choose one size 72 pillar from the drop zone and call it then without paying the call cost, which is pretty cool. And then return all cards from the drop zone to your deck. So it's a really good refresher if you go into late game. But right now I don't really see running this, especially because the pay 1 life, with what I was talking about earlier with the Arc. But yeah, it is a good card. But yeah, I don't really see that late of a game where you would go through your whole deck in BuddyFight yet.